persistence.
Persistency.
Persistence. Persistence.
Persistence.
Persisting.
Hello, Believe Nation. Today we're going to talk about how you can persist. And as always, as you watch the video, if somebody says something that really resonates with you, please leave it in the comments below and put quotes around it so other people can be inspired as well. Enjoy.
The funny thing is, with enough persistence, most things that seem impossible become possible. I'm always amazed at how often you can turn things around and people take no for an answer too easily. It's whether you're trying to achieve a goal like get into business school, or my green card was the same way. I left the job that had sponsored me, but I still got my green card even though no lawyer would take me. I became my own lawyer. Got my green card without working for while I was at business school. And I did it perfectly legally. My strategy there was, if I couldn't convince immigration, I'd confuse them, and I did. And they gave me my green card.
My recovery was hard. I prayed to God. I told him, if this is gonna be like this much longer, then just take me out. Don't let me, I don't wanna live like this. I can't live like this. Just let me die, because this is rough. But you know what? I didn't die. I kept living. A doctor came into me in the hospital. He said, I heard, CT, that you were 3-time world champion. I said, yes, doctor, I am. And he said, well, he shook his head. It was a young doctor. He shook his head, and he said, man, what happened to you? I tell you what, I want to thank that doctor for asking me what happened to me. He asked me what happened to me with disdain in his eyes. He couldn't believe that I had failed that far because I looked like a human skeleton. He just couldn't believe it. The CT, what happened to you? You don't look like you ever lifted weight in your whole life. But that doctor is what made me determined to get back out there and to climb back up to the top of the mountain and be king of the beast once more. I thank you, doctor. You made me do this. Ask me what happened? You. I'm gonna show your ass what happened.
I know it took you 6 years to write Hamilton, but I know we, like, as teenagers, like, if we're writing an essay, and we have trouble, we're like, oh my God, I just want to give up. Did you ever feel like that? Like,
all the time. All the time. And then you push through it. Like, you push through it, because what's the alternative? You're gonna leave that idea stuck in your head forever? That sucks. The alternative is you go through life and you had this great idea and nothing came of it because you got tired. And yeah, sometimes you don't go to the party that all your friends are at because the idea is calling to you in that moment. Wait for It's a great example of that. I was on my way to my friend's birthday party when that lyric showed up, when death doesn't discriminate showed up in my head. The idea came on the A down. I started writing it down in the train, in la quinita of the A train. Break dancers are dancing, I have my headphones on. I get out, the whole chorus comes all at once. I write it down, and I suddenly see the shape of the whole song. I was just like, the chorus is Burr, that's who he is. I go into my friend's party. I go, hey, what's up, man? Happy birthday. I gotta go. I get on the L train, and I write the rest of the song on the way back home, from the L to the A back up to 207th Street. You have to do that sometimes. You have to say no to your friends to say yes to your work. Because what are you gonna do? Like, lose that idea because you decided to, like, have a drink with your friends? Like, it's not worth it. Your friend will be there.
I went to the same high school in East Denver as my father did, Denver East High School, and I remember taking a computer science course. And at the time, they introduced this thing called a transistor, which is the building block of computers, for those who don't know. And transistors were invented at this place called Bell Labs, which had a facility about 20 miles from my home. And after that lesson, I went and I dug up the telephone number to the Bell Labs facility, and I called them. I said, do you have summer internships? They said, we absolutely do. I said, fantastic. They said, if you're between your junior and senior year in college. I said, hey, I'm a junior in high school. I'm taking advanced math classes and computer science, getting all A's, just like being in college. They said, no, it isn't. So I called every day for 2 weeks straight. The HR director, of course, stopped taking the calls after the second day, and I left a message with my phone number. Then I called every Monday for 5 months. And every time I called, the receptionist just chuckled, and she took my name, and she took my number, and she said, we'll get back to you if there's an opening. And I kept at it. And to my surprise, the human resources director called my house in June and said, listen, an intern from MIT didn't show up. We have an extra slot. We're not promising you anything, but why don't you come on in and interview? Now, of course, I knew I was the most qualified candidate for this job. And the truth is, I went in, I interviewed, I got the job. So the important thing that I want you to think about here is the persistence to get that job led to me working at Bell Labs for the next 4 years, becoming a co-op student, and ultimately finishing with a degree in chemical engineering from Cornell, all from being persistent.
To make changes in any organization, you have to have a measure of very high persistency. You've got to go on and on and on and on. If you don't have that persistency, very often you fall off just when success is around the corner.
Maintain flexible persistence. And entrepreneurs are given two pieces of advice with equal vigor. If you look at them, they're in contradiction. One is have a vision. Plow through the wall, keep your vision. Don't allow yourself to be defocused from that, keep going. The other one is listen to your customers, listen to market feedback, listen to your network, be really adaptive. And you're like, well, okay, right? How do you put those two things together? And that's part of, again, where it's a very difficult thing to teach other than by doing, right? Other than by the activity of going out and being an entrepreneur and making those decisions. And so the reason that the rule is maintain flexible persistence is because it's both keep a vision and be flexible. So for example, if you think about the kind of the ABZ planning framework, it's like, look, I've got a plan, I want to try to get there. This is my main plan. If that's hitting problems, like I'm not growing fast enough or I'm stalling out, okay, here are some things I can try to keep trying to do that. And if that doesn't work, how do I shift to a different destination, a different location? That's part of the plan Z.
You took the acting classes and stuff?
Yeah, I took acting classes. Even in my acting classes, I couldn't get a part.
Oh, my Lord.
That's the truth. That's
really?
The truth, yeah.
Well, how'd you break through?
I don't know. It's just determination, and not giving up and persistence.
But why did you still believe in the company? I mean, I have to think that at any point in Silicon Valley history, there's a lot of people that at that point, they're just like, this isn't going to work, market's changed, this isn't a viable concept anymore.
Well, I don't know how much belief I had, but I knew that I had kind of gotten everybody into the boat with me. So it wasn't so much that I didn't want to quit. I wanted to quit every day I was in that job. I felt like throwing up when I woke up in the morning.
So you know what it's like having a baby now.
Yeah, exactly. Like I felt like I was pregnant. But, I'd hired every employee, and they all trusted me. I'd raised all the money. I talked every investor into putting their money in. I had given stock to, like my friends and relatives, and they were all excited about the prospects for the company. When it went public, like a lot of my friends from high school, bought the stock because I was running the company. And so I felt like I could die, but I couldn't quit. And one of the horrible things about being founder CEO is it's the one job you really can't quit, or if you do quit, you're a punk. So, I didn't want to be a punk, so I just kept, pedaling. But it was rough. I mean, that was running Loud Cloud, and right, and it didn't stop there, right? That was Loud Cloud.
Yeah.
Loud Cloud, by the time Loud Cloud was 2.5 years old, I had sold the Loud Cloud part of the business, and I had to change it into another business. So the next thing that happened was, right, Loud Cloud was going to go bankrupt. So I raised $160 million in the IPO. But I burned, we burned through that, and we couldn't stop the burn because the customers kept going out of business. And so like we were headed towards bankruptcy. So then I had to, I sold the services part of the business and all the cash burn to EDS. And then I had to lay off, probably, another third of the employees. And then I kept the remaining 80 employees, and we became a software company, a publicly traded software company with no customers and no revenue, which was another
And that was when you
trick.
became Opsware.
That's when we became Opsware, yeah. So like that was hard. But it was good, that kind of stuff, it makes you strong. Eventually, we 5 years later, we sold it to Hewlett Packard for, $1.6 billion. And
not a bad exit.
Which was like, I'm still shocked by that whole thing. I still wake up in the middle of the night going, we're going to run out of money.
My instincts, I always felt, were better earlier in my life than they are now. It seems as though sometimes I'm a little bit blinded by the attention, so I don't make correct assessments. I'm a little bit influenced by the fact that I'm not on the outside looking in. I was fortunate enough to have certain things happen in my life. I mean, it's luck. It's really luck. And persisting in a thing, what is that? He who persists in his folly will one day be wise, I haven't gotten wise yet, but I keep persisting.
You know what? I'm going to tell you something right now. You should quit. And you know what you should quit? You should quit quitting. All right? I want you to think about something, and I want you to think about it in terms of your life. Now, if you wanted to run a marathon, but every time you got frustrated, every time you got tired, every time you got winded, every time you got sore, you turned around and went back to the starting line and started over because you were all of these things that are painful, would you ever complete the goal of running your marathon? Of course not. Guys, life is the same. Success is the same. Nothing worthwhile is going to be given to you. It's going to be earned, and it's going to be earned through your pain, through your misery, through your suffering. None of it's going to be easy, guys. And the factor that separates almost every single person in life that's been successful is people that succeed quitting when things get hard. Quitting is a habit, okay? Quitting is a mentality. It's a core value of people, all right? They get a little bit down the road and either they don't finish or they say, man, this is hard, I'm gonna try something else. Or man, this is hard, I'm gonna try doing this. This isn't for me because it's hard. It's all hard. That's what you don't understand. Any path you take to get where you want to be, if that place is worthwhile to go, it's going to be hard. So quit judging your quitting or you're wanting to do something else based upon how hard something is. Because every single path that you could possibly take to get somewhere where you want to be is going to be hard. That's just a fact of reality of this earth. Okay? But that's what you have to understand. Struggle, pain, misery, frustration, those are signs and that you are A, on the right path, and B, making progress. You have to learn to identify these things as indications that you are on the right path. Okay? Nobody that is where you want to be has gotten there without these struggles, without the bleeding, without the pain, without the depression, without the misery. Nobody. So what makes you think that you're going to be able to be that person that gets there with none of those things? Guys, life is hard. Success is really hard. And if you want to be something big, you want to dream big, you want to be something great, you are going to have to learn to accept the struggle as part of the recipe. Okay? Every single day you need to look yourself in the mirror and ask yourself, what am I willing to do to get what I want? And if the answer is whatever the I have to, you'll probably get there in time. But if it's anything less, you won't. And that's just a fact of life, guys.
Thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed. I'd love to know, what did you think of this video? What was the clip that inspired you the most? Are you now motivated to go out there and persist? What is holding you back from persisting? Leave it down in the comments below. I'm really curious to hear from you, and I'm gonna join in the discussion. Thank you guys again for watching. I believe in you. I hope you continue to believe in yourself and whatever your one word is. Much love. I'll see you soon.